So how do you get over being camera shy if you want to be a content creator? Do you have to show your face? This was the comment that inspired this video. Any advice for someone who's camera shy? Is there any way of doing videos without having to be on camera? Okay, so this is a tricky one because the thing is with content creation is there are 1,000,001 different ways of creating content, and there will be an audience somewhere for each thing. But the thing is that you got to ask, what do you want to achieve with the content that you are creating? For example, if you're trying to turn this into something that it becomes profitable, if you want this to be something that people enjoy you as a person for, if you want to create a personal brand, you're probably going to need to show your face. At a bare minimum, I think that people are going to have to speak on camera. There are plenty of successful faceless accounts, for example, loads of them in gaming, but they still speak. There has to be that element of personality, because personality is what drives human ability to relate. There are 1,000,001 people, for example, that right now are saying the same thing that I'm saying right now in this video somewhere else on YouTube, probably with 200,000 times the amount of followers and views that I get, right? But if you're watching this, it's because you chose me, because presumably you like me. Do you know what I mean? If you remove that human aspect to your content creation, you will struggle to grow so much more. Adding a face, adding a voice, as scary as it can be at first, adds a point of relation to somebody. It adds just personality points straight away. You're trying to create a personal brand, right? Here's one for you. On TikTok, one of my accounts has got nearly 250,000 followers, and I barely ever show my face on it because it's mostly just me recording playing games, and it's usually, you can still hear my voice, but there's no face. And I truly believe that is part of the reason why that account has probably never really had a sponsorship, because there's nothing that personal about it. Does that make sense? There is a huge trend at the minute when it comes to content creation in terms of faceless, AI-generated stuff, because people are trying to... Basically, at the end of the day, people that are doing faceless content, that are faceless, voiceless content, 9 times out of 10 in 2024, it was created by AI, and it's just mass-produced stuff, is no different than anybody else's, and for the most part, these platforms really don't like it. I think there's some sort of error, there's some sort of issue going on right now behind the scenes at YouTube where loads of people have had their RPM tanked or something along those lines, and by the look of it, a great proportion of those people are people whose videos are solely created through AI, and there's no human to human aspect of it. So no doubt you can grow without ever showing your face. However, I think it's going to be much slower and it's going to be much harder. You're going to make it harder for people to relate to you. You're going to make it harder for people to stick around with you as a person. It's just potentially making it harder than it needs to be. So how do you actually get over your fear of being on camera? It's kind of the same way that you get better at literally anything else that you would ever do. It's simply just putting in the reps. I promise you, right, that the first time I ever appeared on camera, it was awkward, it felt weird. I was literally like 13 trying to be a YouTuber because I wanted to be one of the Machinima Respawn guys creating Call of Duty content and stuff like that. My voice was, I was a squeaker, I was 3 foot tall, fat and asthmatic. Trust me, there was nothing that I had going for me back then, and I didn't do very well at all. But as you put the reps in, as you spend more time in front of a camera, the less you care. Truly, at this point, I have made tens of thousands of videos over the last few years, and I don't even think twice when I turn the camera on. At most, I try and make sure my hair is in place. That's about it. And yeah, to be fair, being real with you, some of the things that you're worried about may happen, might. For example, if you show your face on social media, you will probably get some hate comments about the way you look, no matter how you look, because everybody does. But you have to understand that is sort of just part of what we do here, and what the internet does, because the internet empowers people to say things they would have never said in person, because keyboard warriors will always be keyboard warriors. It's been 20 years of that on YouTube, and that's just how it will always be. There are a ton of things that are content creator related, that you don't start good at, and it's why, if you ever listen to any like guru when it comes to growing your social media, the number one thing they say is just start posting. Just start posting. And the reason for that is because you aren't even able to identify the skills that you're going to have to improve until you've posted a few times, until you've posted tons of times. The first however many videos you make are probably not going to be very good. You're probably not going to come across very confident. You're probably not going to be very succinct in the things that you say. You're probably not going to project your voice. You're probably going to and ah, and you're just going to stumble over your words, and you're probably not going to look directly into the camera, and you're probably going to just feel a little bit awkward. But over time, as you put the reps in and you become desensitized to it, it becomes your new normal. Because again, humans are excellent at creating a new normal. Dramatic things can change in your life, like absolutely world upside down turning events can happen, and within a few weeks human psychology adjusts to that being your new normal, no matter how sometimes traumatic that can be. Humans are great at adjusting to new normal, so if you make your new normal that you wake up every day and you start filming, it becomes easier quicker than you think. Also, if you guys haven't already, if you could drop me a follow or a subscribe, that'd be fantastic. I got space there for some silver play buttons one day. You never know. We're a mile away from it. I've got to get like 100 times what we currently got, but it's possible. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to you that everybody has the same advantages when it comes to how they look and appearing on camera, because there is definitely some aspect in content creation of pretty privilege. There will be like there will be people that just are very pretty, whether they be men or women, and they will generally have an easier time growing than somebody that is potentially somebody that you might want to look away from, as it were. But again, like I said at the beginning of this video, there really is an audience for everything and everyone. It's just a case of you've got to consistently post your videos and try and improve something on each one that you do, put the reps in and all that sort of thing, until you find your audience. Because I promise your audience is out there. It absolutely is. It's just, you've... Another thing that gurus often say is they will say that the algorithm and audience are one and the same in terms of being synonymous as far as a content creator is concerned. And yeah, I agree. Your job is to convince the algorithm to like your stuff. But in reality, what you're actually doing is you're trying to convince people to like your stuff. And that's why being on camera is so important in my eyes, because it shows... In anything you do, being on camera shows some sort of level of authority that you otherwise would not have had. There are plenty of people who are confident speaking, but if they're not confident speaking on a camera, then that removes something. It removes aspects of their video that otherwise could have been there. Why is this not stopping? What's going on? If we equate the whole being camera shy things to my experience when it comes to being in the gym and being a fitness influencer and all that sort of thing, 1,000,001 times a day you would hear that people are scared of going into the gym, but trust me, that is the sort of thing that goes away within like a month. If somebody goes to the gym and does all of their sessions each week and does that for a month, by the time that month has elapsed, they typically are no longer afraid of being in the gym. And that is pretty much anything. Like when you first started your job, you were probably a little bit nervous, a little bit afraid when you first walked in and didn't exactly feel like you belonged or anything like that. But given time, you adjust and it becomes your new normal, and that's just... it becomes what you do. And again, it's the same thing with being on camera. It's difficult though, because there's no necessary immediate satisfaction from recording these videos. For example, if you're growing from nothing and you record this video, you edit it, you post it, and it gets nothing, then you have that sort of itch in your head of being like, well, was it worth it? Did it work? But you just have to keep grinding, because you never know which video is going to be the one for you that really starts the snowball effect where things just keep getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, to reiterate, I do think being on camera is going to make it a lot easier for you to grow your account. I do think that especially if you want to grow a personal brand where you're able to get sponsors and people will listen to you and follow you around platform to platform, wherever you go, whatever you do, rather than just watching for whatever content it is that you create, being on camera is definitely going to be important. If I was never on camera, I would not be able to grow new TikTok accounts to 10,000 followers in a couple of days the way that I can, because people will see my face, they know who I am, they click follow button. That's how that works over there. So it's the same reason why, like, if somebody on here with 1 million subscribers was to make a new account, they could grow it pretty rapidly because their face is known. At the beginning, you might see it as a bit of a disadvantage because you're camera shy, but eventually it becomes an advantage. People click your thumbnail because they see your face. That's another aspect. You got to remember that you're trying to get people to click onto your video in the first place. And there will come a point where once people know and like you and your content, they'll see your face in a thumbnail, and that will often be enough for them to click it. I know, for example, every day I watch Jev's videos. I often don't even know what the title is, but I see Jev's face in the thumbnail and I go, click. And how many people do you do that with? Just think about that. That's what we're trying to build into, that sort of community. So yeah, I would recommend just putting in the reps, and eventually I promise you that shyness, it goes away.